y'all, welcome back to the channel. Can we talk with Monique? I am Monique. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're new here, please subscribe to the channel. And if you've been here before, welcome. And don't forget, hit that little bell, and that way you'll be notified of all my uploads. So y'all, this video is entitled, It's in the DMs. Anyway, you know, since I've been following this story with Ernest Williams, aka Ernesto, Nesto, and the estranged husband of Shirley Strawberry, there's always been certain things that have either perplexed me or my gut says something is just not right. Now, this man is being held, you know, and there's alleged charges against him. He has not been convicted, nor has he been indicted on these. However, I've always wondered, look at this picture. I always wondered about that ambulance. You know, I can understand buying maybe even those Hummers, but the Hummers and the ambulance always cause me something in my gut to say, something's not quite right. Now, personally, I wouldn't buy an ambulance, and you can go to like surplus auctions of government, you know, and buy, you know, old, maybe police cars, you know, that makes sense, you know, if you have a security business. But an ambulance, I always scratch my head and says, why did he buy that? And what was he going to use it for? But then there was also the Hummers, you know, and I can understand that, but what were you going to be? He had a Nesto security, you know, barbershop, mobile barbershop, 24-hour barbershop, and then security. So I don't know if he was doing a detail for, you know, celebrities, but the Hummers, it just kind of was, you know, giving me, what are you securing? You know, it just didn't, you know, and like I said, these are my opinions, but it was giving me, who are you trying to secure? Are you trying to secure in the so they can't get out? But that's what was going through in my head. So let's look at some pictures. Gave me a little. So these are pictures from Instagram. This is in front of Nesto's barbershop, and you know, here's one of his Hummers, right? But very, very dark tint. And there was a young lady today. I will leave her link to her channel. She had a story time that I listened to. And this young lady had a very, very scary encounter. She said she never named the person, but she said his name rhymed with pesto. And it was at a barbershop in Buckhead. Now this says here, Barbershop Buckhead. Nesto's pesto. Okay. All right. I was just seeing if my rhyming skills were still there. And the account was very harrowing. And what I will say to you is part of her story time was that she was in back of a Hummer with very tinted windows. And it had like a TV or a computer in there. And so I'm going to leave the link so you can go and watch the video. Let me just say this before I go on. I'm very thankful that this young lady was able to get out of this situation and not have to be, you know, I mean, it was harrowing enough and traumatic enough, but the fact that, you know, she was able to get out and get away. And she was able to, it looks like she's thriving. She's doing well. And, you know, she gave a preface to the story. And the enemy, let me just say this, the enemy is always busy. He has his minions all over the place. And they love to prey on people's vulnerabilities, you know, and if you're desperate. And this young lady said, you know, she had just had a baby. You have to, you know, I think she had twins. That's a very delicate, very vulnerable place. She said she had bills to pay, living in Atlanta. She had rent to pay, you know, and she really needed a job because she didn't want to go back to her former job that she had. The enemy knew that. He had a minion waiting right there for her. And you know how Atlanta is, unlike places like New York and California, you know, they'll set you out in a minute. So she was like, look, I'm trying to go get me a job. I really, really need this job. And this is how the enemy works. When you are either desperate or very vulnerable, his minions are right there. And she was like, I'm trying to get this job. If I get this job, I'll be on the right track and I can just, go on with my life. Going over to her channel, I'll leave it in the description box. I listened to it and I'm just very pleased that she has moved on and was able to, tell her story, but also that she's doing well. And I appreciate her bravery with sharing her story. And it's amazing how people will say, well, why people wait so long? Well, I think she was very wise and she used discernment in when she shared her story, because had she shared it some other time, I think this was the time and to share. So let's go now. She had mentioned, like I said, a Hummer with tinted windows. Now, what we see here, we see a Hummer with some very dark tinted windows. You could barely see in and you could barely see out. Now, I'm not one that drives with tinted windows because, shoot, I need all I can see. But then here's another Hummer, very dark tinted windows. You could barely see in and you could barely see out. And then we've been on this channel, talking, and we listen to the phone calls and stuff. And, sometimes Ernesto has these Ernesto-isms and these sayings, and they talk and speak in code. And I'll be speaking in code sometimes because sometimes YouTube just does not like certain words that trigger and can, have your channel just kind of looked at in not a good way. So I might speak in some code, and those who pick it up, and those who don't, y'all just, email me or whatever. So yeah, here's another Hummer with some very dark tinted windows. What say ye? I say yeah. Now, I guess this is a picture of him and his son, shaking hands. Very interesting handshake. I must say so myself. A very interesting handshake. Yeah, but the ambulance and the Hummers really, and I remember he had a security portion to his company. So, I just moseyed on out there onto Instagram. And then there was some stories about Sheridan, which is Shirley Strawberry's daughter. And, I started listening to the phone calls, y'all. And it seemed like there was a point where things turned in this whole situation. And when you listen to the phone calls, the latest ones, it's like there's a animosity and a hate. But then when I went up here on Instagram, let's look at these videos, because it looked like they had a good stepfather relationship. Let's look at this. Let's look here. Look here. Hey, that's Ernesto, and I think that's Sheridan. Beautiful woman. I think. Yeah, I think that's her. Looks like Shirley on the bus, one of his buses. Let's see what's going on.
Now, watch that. Come on. Let you see what's going on here. This is the barbershop. We're keeping it moving. Yeah, we're changing everything around. How you like it?
I like it.
Yeah, it's hot. All right. So they're going to put these molds and all this stuff. So they're going to cut all this up and put it in the wall. This is going to be mirrored up the same way. So it's going to be pretty hot.
I see the vision.
I got a little bright cottage, but I'm still moving, still getting to the money, doing what I do. Nesto.
Look at her. I mean, just a beautiful young lady. And what did he say here? When you have a vision, you have to stay motivated and focused no matter what. Don't let anything or anyone throw you off your game. Do you, ashy elbows and all, I'm grinding. Okay. All right, ashy elbows. But then there was another one, and I can't play this with the music because she's in the car with him. Look at her. She's sitting there. Look like they are enjoying maybe a weekend, and the music's playing. I can't play it. But in this one, I just looking at him. He looks a little gaunt, a little, tired, a little, his skin color. He looks like maybe he might be a little ill or something, maybe some jet lag or food poisoning. But she looks like she's happy riding with him, right? rapping, and sometimes we be thinking we rappers and stuff. It looks like she's having a good time. So I was wondering myself, at what point did things change? Okay. At what point did things change? Because something had to change to where? Right here on the screen. And this is from Chronicle Speaks. Let me just say this. This is for fair use and educational purposes by way of the Fair Use Act. Now, this is from Chronicle Speaks channel. Please go on over there. She breaks things down in her own unique way. Okay. And this is paperwork where the courts basically said that Mr. Williams could not contact, and here they blacked out, some of the victims, alleged victims. He could not contact them. And it says you are to have no contact directly or indirectly with the victim's family, professional, personal, or close associates by phone, mail, email, or through a third party, including at victim's workplace, church, home, and daycare. If you encounter the victim, you must leave immediately and must not come within 200 yards of the victim. Now, we know he's incarcerated. But then there was his friend who one of the phone calls said, and I'm just paraphrasing, it sounded like she said that she was going to get a private eye. And this private eye was going to investigate one of the alleged victims based on, as far as character. And I was like, well, hopefully they're not contacting the victim directly or indirectly. Because wouldn't a private eye, if he did that, and I'm not, a legal person, so you can go on over there to Pam SY because she might be able to tell you better. But wouldn't, if a private eye contacted the victim, wouldn't that be a third party? I don't know. But a private eye can just, maybe they're not contacting the victim directly, but, investigating people. But then they said, they can't contact their professional, personal. So how would you, find out about their character unless you go to their friends, their family, or their close associates? It seems to me that this would be violating this court order there. I'm just saying, I don't know. But in my mind, how do you find, you can go on, Facebook and look at pictures, but character, you got to go and maybe look up their record or speak to somebody. If you're speaking to somebody, it's probably going to be their professional, personal, or their close associates. And this clearly here says you can't do that even through a third party. So I'm just saying, but there's some point, and they said, let me just go back. Something happened, y'all. I don't know what happened, and I can't say. But something really happened. So let's go here and we're going to listen to Chronicle Speaks. Please go on over to her channel and let's see what she has to say, because it is my belief. People were saying, well, what's taking so long for them to indict? It is my belief that they needed to. They were investigating one thing, came across some other stuff, and they had to get forensics, the technology, videos, tapes, things of that nature. So let's listen to this. This is from Chronicle Speaks, and let's listen to what she has to say.
Came about actually 4 months after all of his other charges came about. So I'm thinking that the government is going through information, going through pictures, going through documents, and they ended up finding this. Now, with his crimes, there are 11 different victims they are stating that he needs to stay away from. Shirley Strawberry's daughter is one of them, and her daughter's children. He is
her daughter and the daughter's children. So in my mind, something had to happen, because her name and the two children's names are there for him to stay away from. And it's just the vitriol and the hate that's being spewed, not only by Mr. Williams calling her a B and like she was the one that started this thing. When you go back, it's not like she started this. They were investigating non-payment on allegedly non-payment on, a rental property. But what happened? Something must have happened. I don't know what happened, but something occurred. And she is now a part of that list. Okay. She's a part of that list, y'all. And it's blacked out here, but according to this, it's redacted of 11 or 12 people that, he's to stay away from. So I don't think it's a wise decision to be on calls saying, I'm going to get my PI. Because how else could they investigate somebody's character? You got to talk to friends, associates, job. You got to do something. Or, it's just calling for trouble. But my point was, something happened. And I don't know what happened. But eventually, there's a no contact type of order there. Okay. But yeah, y'all, the Hummers and stuff really kind of perplexed me. But then, I'm going to say this. Social media is going to indict certain people on their own. The pictures and the telephone calls, I believe that is the reason why the charges did not come until 4 months after Mr. Williams was arrested, because they came across this stuff and then they have to go through video and tape and phone calls and surveillance. Now, what surveillance and phone calls were they going through? Let me show you something here. Let me show you. So let's go to, because Instagram, now there's another picture here. This is, you see these walkie-talkies? So Mr. Williams had some high-tech surveillance stuff. And I guess they were for his, let's say his security business. But he did have some technology. Now, I think that's Mrs. Rothschild. I might be wrong, but they have these walkie-talkies. Not sure why they needed those. And she looks like she's counting something or, going over some stuff with him. But who knows? There's that Hummer again and them dark tinted windows. What's that? Was that a hotel? I don't know. I don't know where that is. Or is that a parking lot? I don't know. But I'm just showing you some pictures, okay? So there's walkie-talkies they had. Very high-tech security system type of things. Let's look here. Here's another video here. It says you got to have a heart of a lion to deal with these demons out here. I'm going to pause on that one. I just have to pause because, yeah, I'm going to read that one more time. You got to have a heart of the lion to deal with these demons out here. I don't believe in nothing but God. Can't you see it? No, I can't. But let's unplay this video right here. He's washing this white Ford. It says Ernesto's Elite Security. Just watch. I don't know. Okay. Detailing it. Nice wrap with his logo. Nesto.
All right.
Now listen.
Got all the latest technology for my security company.
Got all the latest technology for my security company. So he's showing it all, hooked up here. Let's see what else it shows. Come on.
All my drivers. All the latest technology.
Oh, all the latest technology. Look at that. So this looks like camera 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the side camera. So this is a computer that's inside maybe one of the Hummers. I don't know. The laptop. The TV, I don't know. But it's the latest technology. He said it. And it looks like this was security surveillance for maybe his stores. He's able to see that in his vehicle. So perhaps could there have been video surveillance inside the barbershop, in the basements? I believe that there is. Y'all know what I mean. Let's finish to watch this. Look. Look at that. He can
see all
outside.
the businesses and everything going on. This side of
Oh, look at that. Smart Office, Nesto's Buckhead. It has the URL, https://appsmartoffice.comcast, and you know the rest of it. I really do believe that the investigators needed to get forensics to look at tapes, cell phone records, pinging towers. Men, folks, we already know that you can use burner phones all you want, or not text each other, or not even pick up a call. They know who you're talking to by way of triangulating the towers. So they know if Nesto is speaking to somebody else, is speaking to his friend, and his friend is speaking. They know this. So this is all on the internet. Here's the URL right here. So this was on tape somewhere with Comcast. And they probably had to go retrieve or try to retrieve some of that information. But clearly, Nesto had some high-tech technology that I believe he used for maybe security. But what I've learned in high echelons of society, what I've learned, and I'm not saying he did that, but what I've learned is when they're doing nefarious things, they'll kind of tape people, and video cam them, sometimes without them knowing. So that way, if something happens, they produce these tapes. And I remember recently listening to these phone calls and them talking about the tapes and sending the tapes. And did they get the tape or the video? And I'm like, what videos are they talking about? But let's look at this. Let's listen again.
Joe, come join me.
Come join him. Join you do what? So these are the vehicles that he had. I don't see the ambulance though. Has anybody seen that ambulance in other tapes? So he's detailing the cars. I don't know my cars, y'all. I don't know if those are Camaros or Mustangs. I don't know. So he had a fleet of security cars, all dark tint. Can't see nothing in these things. Look, the tint's so dark. But as you can see, he said high-tech security. Look, listen, watch this. I'm sorry for the profanity, y'all.
That's my motherfucking goddamn dance. You know what that means? For the haters. The ones who don't believe in me. I don't give a damn about you. I'm getting to the money.
Okay, he getting to the money. That's for the haters, that dance. So I want to play it. I just want y'all to see this one more time so y'all can see the high tech. So I guess it's inside this particular car that he has. And now, do y'all remember there was a reading of documentation? I can't remember what channel. I don't know if it's a police report where one of the ladies said she met him at a Starbucks and he said he was able to look up people's license plate and see where they live and get information on them. Now, I don't think he was law enforcement. I don't think he has a badge or anything, but I think those type of things should be only for law enforcement, maybe private eye, maybe even attorneys, but they said that he was able to get in that computer. So did he have a hookup or a link? I don't know, but that's what was said. So he had to have a computer. I think she said he went in his car. High technology. I don't know if they found that when they arrested him back in July of 20. Right. So look, listen.
Got all the latest technology for my security company, all my drivers. All the latest.
Now that looks pretty. It's a computer, and yeah.
This technology.
He's able to see
all the businesses and everything going.
So he could see literally from his car. He was probably able to see inside the barbershop what people were doing, where they were going, and be able to watch his employees. Is that a bad thing? No, but he had that inside his vehicle. He could see outside onto the street. Latest technology. And I'm sure, they've looked at this technology because it will show the players from the Himalayas. Listen.
Hold on. This is not a joke. Come join me.
This is not a joke. So I'm sure Comcast Business, I don't know if they got a subpoena. Like I told you, I'm not. But a lot of this stuff is in the cloud, or so you think. It's there. So, the smart office, I'm sure they're going to look at that URL and try to figure this out. And what was it? Smart cam back, front, side, inside. Technology. That's what they was going to. So the walkie-talkies, Let me show you the other. Okay, so we got that one. Let's go to this one. This one right here. Another computer. Looks high tech. on his phone. Let me see what he had to say. I want to share with you, with the world. My best friend called me today and told me it's my season again. I guess that must be Dre. I'm not sure. Because he's seen me operate more effectively during difficult times, similar to what we are ready to experience, a super financial crisis. Something that will turn people against each other to save their own lives. What I did in the past recession in 2008, I encourage my employees what he did. Something that will turn people against each other to save their own lives. What I did in the past recession in 2008, is that what he did? He turned against people to save his life? I don't know. Is that what he's saying? I don't know. I encourage my employees that we had to stick together no matter what. That's what he said. God gave me the ability to sacrifice myself. I'm just going to pause on that. But do you see the technology? So this is my belief, y'all, as to why it's been taking so long. Because they had to go through all the pictures and, blow stuff up. Get the technology, the footprint of all of that stuff. And it's all right here on the internet. Okay? All the technology. Okay? Now, I don't know what happened with him and Sheridan, but something happened. And he cannot contact her. And I don't think it's wise for that young lady to be I don't think it's wise for her to be doing what she's doing, but let her go on with her bad self. Now, this is from Phone Calls from Prison. And I'm so appreciative of this channel because I probably wouldn't be talking about this right now. Let's listen to this. I'm just going to play this. And y'all, I don't think, some things are just better left. I'm going to let it play. And y'all.
Today is the Lord's Day today. Forgive me, Lord. But today, I'm going to salute my motherfucking self today. Sometimes you sit around me doing so much, you don't even take time to really think about yourself and the things you've done for others and how many people can help you get where you need to get to. God's good all the time.
What?
Fuck it. Today is my motherfucking day. Believe that. Sit in the house for a long time. Trying to get back to it now.
This video.
Okay, I can't. There's nothing else that I can say to that. I think that speaks exactly for itself. I just can't even say much. But what I will say is this. I got something that I want to show y'all. One last thing. Now, this is also from Phone Calls from Prison. I'm going to leave the link there. This is Telltale. Okay. This is why I entitled this video what I did, if you remember what I called it. Because I really do think, now, if y'all remember, his friend has been asking him for his password to his Instagram page, which is still up. And I was wondering, most of the time when stuff goes down, most of the time people try to take their pages down. So I was wondering why the page hadn't been taken down with all of this stuff, because this is where we're getting a lot of those pictures from. But according to Mr. Williams, he said he can't remember. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I've heard his friend ask him on maybe 2 to 3 occasions, does he remember or have it? And he was not able to give it to her. I believe he knows it. Because when you go in, he doesn't want her to, in my belief, this is allegedly, I don't know for sure because I don't know these people, but whoever gets in there is able to see the DMs. And I believe a lot of what's going on and going down is in the DMs. Let's just take a listen, shall we?
I want to thank this beautiful city, Atlanta, Georgia. That's exactly where I'm from. I want to thank everybody who's there for me from my ups and downs, my trials and tribulations. My job is to get this game back to the ones who want it. These are young folk. The young folk want this game. Contact me, DM me.
Oh, what did he say? Can we play that again? Let's play that again. So he can say, we can see how he told the young folks to contact him. What did he say? Let's play
I want to
that.
thank this beautiful city, Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta, Georgia. That's exactly where I'm from. I want to thank everybody who's there for me from my ups and downs, my trials and tribulations. My job is to get this game back to the ones who want it. These are young folk. The young folk want this game. Contact me, DM me.
Oh, that's why I entitled this, y'all. It's in the DMs. And I think that's why nobody's been able to get in there, because whoever gets access to that, I believe the Popo, the 5-0, and whoever else is looking, I think they've gotten access to it. But if he gave that access to his friend or to his wife or anybody else, they'd be able to go in his DMs and see all of the interactions. And one of the things I learned maybe last year, I wasn't really doing a whole lot of Instagram. I picked up on it, but I didn't even know what DMs was. And my son told me, he was like, Mom, it's direct messaging. I was like, oh, okay. He was like, no, that's how people really contact each other and make business deals. And, you know, sometimes when they say you hit me in my DMs, I didn't even know what that was. Guys, this is what I believe has taken so long for things to happen, because a lot of this stuff is hidden in plain sight, right in the DMs. And I do believe it's just my theory. Okay, it's my theory.
I want to thank this beautiful city, Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta, Georgia. That's exactly where I'm from. I want to thank everybody who's there for me from my ups and downs, my trials and tribulations. My job is to get this game back to the ones who want it. These are young folk. The young folk want this game. Contact me, DM me.
So guys, you know, let me know what you think about it. But I think it's in the DMs. That part. Okay? That part. And so let me know what you think. Please comment. Something happened. There was a change as it relates to Sheridan and his relationship, because they looked like they had a close one or a good one from what we could see. But something happened, and I don't think it was something that's good. Please go to the other young lady's channel who gave her account of a really horrible situation that she found herself in. She's doing much better, but I think it's worthwhile going and watching it. And like I said, I do think it's always been my contention that there's something with this ambulance. I won't even say what it is now. Maybe I'll do a video on that. And that those Hummers, I always thought that there was something more to the story than what we knew. And as far as technology, I think technology is being used to piece this case together using forensic. And I don't think there are a lot of forensic individuals who have that background. So they're probably hard to find. So maybe there's a wait list, you know, people who can go in and retrieve certain information. But I believe those Instagram stories and all of that talking and flossing and showing everything is going to be used to incriminate certain individuals. So tell me what you think about this story. Tell me what you think about this video. I know it's kind of long, but I just want to show you where my mind was going with this case. I believe that they do have some information, and it might be coming up shortly. I believe that law enforcement, again, are watching these videos and piecing things together. And just like I was able to show you the URL, well, you know, there's a footprint to your computer. Your URL goes to a particular, you know, box that goes, I'm sure they've gotten in contact with Comcast. So that part, you know what I'm saying? So again, like, share, subscribe, hit that little bell, and you'll be notified of all my uploads. Thank you guys so much for the support. Let's chat down below like we do, and I will see you on the next upload of Can We Talk with Monique. All right, y'all. Peace. And I'm out.